Good morning, everyone. Jill here with North Texas Vegetable Gardening, canning recipes, a little bit of everything. Okay, so we've been working on our raised beds. My husband had to do some repair on this, so I'm going to go through and talk to some of the pictures so that you see what he had to do and what had happened to it, and then we're going to plant in it. So stay tuned. So in all the pictures I'm fixing to show you, he dug out the middle and he needed to put a brace in because it was starting to bow out. Now we built that one back in 2018, so it was about 4 years ago. It's held up really well. Had to get it a good clean out, get all the weeds out, but one of the posts on one of the ends was eaten up completely by ants, so he had to replace that. So here are the pictures. So here's the end result, guys. He had to repair this because it was coming apart there. He dug it out, got all the weeds out of it. He put that middle beam that I showed you a picture of, and he filled it with compost. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add weed cloth on top of it before we plant anything, because we're going to try to stave it off on the weeds for the coming year. So we'll show you. Yesterday, Greg worked on this other raised bed. You can see this is one that is shaded. We have some peppers in there. They were really kind of overtaken by some of the tomatoes, so we got all that cleaned out, all the weeds cleaned out, and he's laid some weed cloth. I'm going to go in here and we're going to cut holes, and I'm going to start some of my fall vegetables in here because these pepper plants will come up as we get a little bit colder. Here is the other one. We'll be planting in this one as well today. So you can see what he did is he took some little, looks like 1x2s, and put the weed cloth up on the edge of the board and then screwed it in so that weeds could not come up in between here. This one was completely covered with weeds. We had a real struggle last year trying to keep them out with everything going on, but we think that we're going to be successful with this method. Here's a quick check on our tomatoes in the high tunnel. They're doing pretty good. We're expecting some rain next week, maybe some cooler temps, so I'm hoping to see that we will get some more buds coming out of these. These are the in-ground tomatoes. They're doing well. The heat's getting them a little bit during the day, guys, but we're getting some cool nights to give them a little bit of a reprieve. So before we start planting, we're getting the irrigation set up, and then we're going to cut holes in the weed cloth to put my plants into.
Grab this for me. Looks great.
So far it's a cool morning, but it's going to heat up today, not as much as yesterday or the day before, but there's a nice south breeze. We have found this way to be a very good way to cut out the holes in our weed cloth for planting, because not only does it give us a very well-rounded spot to put our plants in, it also seals off where the weed cloth was burned, so it doesn't rip further as we work with it. Aphids. We're going to do a video on aphids, guys, today or tomorrow, so if you want to stay tuned, be sure and hit that subscribe button, because we're finding out all kinds of interesting information about aphids. But let's go on to my raised bed. So we do have some heavy duty spray coming today, because we've got to get these things under control. But let's talk about what I'm putting in here. So you can see that my husband put all the holes in here to get ready for some of my fall planting. This redesign is going to help us two ways. Number one, weeding takes an enormous amount of time in your garden. I'm sure you guys all know that. So this weed cloth is going to help us there. Watering here in Texas, at least 6 months out of the year, takes an enormous amount of time to keep your plants watered. So that's why we've gone with the weed cloth to help with the weeding and with the irrigation system. So all we have to do is turn the spigot on and let it water, and it's more isolated to the plant. So let me show you. So you can see from my irrigation here that my husband cut a hole wherever there is irrigation, so the plant will get directly watered every time we turn the spigot on for every single one of these. So this is going to help tremendously. Miss Bear says hi. She doesn't get to come out much in the afternoon, so we try to let her get her running, her and Hank, out in the morning, so they can get their exercise and enjoy whatever it is they love to do out here. So this raised bed does not have any shade cloth, so I'm not going to do anything with this yet until we get a little bit cooler weather, and then I'll plant some of my cool weather plants in here. But guys, it's just simply too hot right now to put anything out here, to be in the direct sun most of the day. And you can see this one has the shade cloth, and somebody had asked how did we fasten these. So you can see we just draped it over the PVC pipe and tie wrapped it, and this, guys, has lasted us a couple of years. This really helps with the heat and with the full sun. Full sun in Texas, guys, is not the same as full sun anywhere else, just let me tell you that. So for this bed up here, I'm going to alternate. I'm going to do cabbage, broccoli, cabbage, broccoli. So it'll give the cabbage leaves room to spread out. Ooh, I'm getting intimate with my pepper plant. See, and those just pop right down in there. So we added some compost in here. Knock it off. Knock it off. We added some compost in here to give all of these little plants a boost. So a couple of weeks ago, guys, you may remember I showed you that worms were eating all my seed starters, and we fought them off with this insecticidal super soap. And I'll tell you what they are. They are the fall army worms. Johnson County, Texas, Master Gardeners Association had sent out a notice on my Facebook page earlier this week and said that they are eating up people's lawns, people's trees, people's gardens. So if you start to see little green worms eating your grass, your vegetables, your garden, they are the army worms. So for smaller patches, you can use a sprayer like this, a hand sprayer, or if you have a large infestation on your garden, you're probably going to have to get one of those pump sprayers and spray it pretty heavily. Another thing that you can use is the Garden Safe BT worm and caterpillar. This is also good for tomato hornworms. It's good for the army worms. This is for organic gardening. So we have found this to be very helpful. We always have to keep these on hand, guys, because one morning you may wake up and have an infestation in your garden and you need to make sure you can fight it pretty quick. So I'm going to go over my stuff with this insecticidal soap. Again, we have some other insecticide coming. Hopefully today. It was due yesterday for the aphids, and I am going to do another video on that, and I think you're going to find some shocking information about aphids, especially if you're here in the Texas area. So you want to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. So these are the two things that we use. I got my things planted back there. I'm going to give everything a squirt to make sure that nothing gets on them, and my husband Greg is turning on the irrigation to get them watered down. Okay, so here's a look. Again, I staggered my cabbage, broccoli, cabbage, broccoli. You can see I sprayed them down with my insecticidal soap, and we're fixing to turn on the irrigation. Okay, so that's the wrap for that raised bed. We have another one here that we're going to get to work on that has some shade cloth. Do the very same thing on, and then again in about a week or two when it gets a little cooler, more things will go in that other raised bed that gets full sun. So now it's time to start some seeds. I'll do another video and show you what seed starters I'm going to do this weekend, so that you know, ooh, there's a gnat, so that you know what maybe you can start on. So stay tuned. Take care. God bless. Be sure and hit that subscribe button, guys. We got lots of things going on. We'll talk to you in a bit.